Hey guys, it's Nolan. So I'm just going to go through 2 or 3 pairs of interest this week. So probably my top 3 charts going into the new week. Pound Aussie, I'll start off with that one. On the weekly, I love this little area here. We'll call it 175, big number, even handle. You can see we had support here back in October 22 and November, around about that time. Big push down into the level, inside candle, and then this really nice bullish response the week afterwards, which led to a nice push up for 1, 2, 3 weeks into 182. That's where price stalled, and as you can see, we had an evening star pattern here and reversed all the way back down to 175, where again price is finding support and big bullish momentum on Friday. So a morning star pattern here coming into this resistance at 178. We found resistance here, but as you can see, the week after we literally broke through, and then after a couple more weeks we hit 182. So I'm looking for the same thing to happen again, looking for history to repeat itself here. Daily, so what are we seeing? Well, we're seeing the impulse of buyers from 175 and now the correction starting. So it's very rare that a correction is just one candle, but it can be. We can have a one candle pullback, but we've come into this area 178. Previously, back in November, we pushed down a little bit further into 177.20, we'll call it that. So it could push down even more. We might spend Monday still retracing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But nice area though. It's an area of resistance here, support here, and we're there again. So we could see buyers come in here back up to 182, or we might just see on the first day of trading, might just see a small candle here, which will be a great opportunity to buy. If you saw an inside candle or a small candle here, it means that momentum into this zone has quietened down. Look for a buy above that candle, stop below the low, and then trade into 182. We can look at these highs as well. You can have more than one target, but yeah, just be aware of where price is and what could happen. 1 hour time frame traders might look for a break of this, what's called counter trend line. I do like this little zone of marked X. This is support here and resistance. So what would be good, is if we actually made a new high on the hourly, came back into this zone here, rejected, and then saw buyers come in again. So this is a zone of interest to me if I get a chance to look at the smaller time frames. If not, then not to worry, I can look at the daily, or for I'm looking for buys only unless something dramatically changes. So yeah, Pound Aussie, definitely on my watch list. Euro Aussie, I'm also liking for longs actually. So whether that means we're going to have a bit of weakness in Aussie next week, I don't know, or just strength in Euro and Pound, but yeah, both Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie for me looking upside. Euro Aussie H4 here, we see this triple bottom, break of the trend line with what looks like an impulsive move to the upside, coming back now to retest the trend line where we could potentially reject and then see the next impulse of buying. It may actually push down a little bit further. For instance, if you are a fan of fibs, it's around about the 50% fib at the moment, I think. Yeah, it could come down to the 61.8 potentially, where we've seen some support there. So it still could push down even further. So if it does break below this trend line, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue down, but I would still be looking for buys, just because this move obviously really stands out. This move from here to here, where we've been seeing a consolidation really between 156 here and we'll call it 154 here, and then boom, we make a new high. So what we're looking for is a new higher low. So higher high, higher low, and then looking for that next higher high. Again, you know, I had that fib in earlier, just put it in again because you could use your fibs to look for targets. Minus 27% fib here at 1.5852. Second one, minus 61.8% fib, 1.5982. But really, I'd be looking, you know, here, which is looks like it's just below the fib. This is where we found resistance before. This is where we might find it again. So yeah, Euro Aussie looks quite decent as well. One more I like. Let's have a little look here. What do we got? We've got Pound Aussie, which we've had a little look at. CAD Swiss, yeah, that's not so bad. Might look at that. Euro CAD, actually, you know, Euro CAD is looking short to me. At the end of last week, we had some CAD news out on Friday. Good news for CAD, and we saw some strength in the CAD come into the market. Now, what I want you to notice is on Euro CAD. So Euro Aussie is slightly different. You know, we've had an impulse to the upside. We were finding a triple bottom at support, and it looks bullish. Now, Euro CAD on the weekly, we're actually entered into weekly resistance here, and we've got this doji candle. So doji candle basically means, if you're not too sure, doji candle is basically an equilibrium between buyers and sellers. No one's really winning. If you think of a candle as a kind of a battle or between buyers and sellers, I mean, you could say that buyers won this battle because they managed to close at a price higher than where it opened, but there's not really much in it. As you can see, we've got this small real body in the middle. The open and close are very, very close together. So pretty much equal amount of buyers and sellers there in the market at that point. But yeah, you know, we've come into resistance and obviously seen some sellers come in. So I think we could potentially see some more selling coming back into this support here. You know, trade entry wise, well, potentially you could look for, and I've got it on this one here. We've got the uptrend here on the 4 hour. We've got our resistance, our weekly resistance here. So you may just want to wait for it to break the trend line or change trend. I mean, you could on a smaller time frame look for a little pullback into this zone here and a rejection, but what might be the safest route to this, you know, is to see price break the trend line and form a higher, a lower high, I should say, and then look to trade that into the zone. So maybe a 4 hour change of trend, get in on the lower high. So you'd be looking for something like a evening star pattern here, potentially. Shooting star candle, bearish engulfing candle. Now, whether you want to use, you know, horizontal support and resistance, depends on the way you trade. Whether you want to use moving averages, for instance, you could look for, you know, either of those. So, but yeah, we're still above this trend line. So really, you know, we're not really confirmed until we break this low here and we form a lower low, because we've had a high, higher high, lower low, sorry, higher low, sorry, higher high. So we want to change cycle. So ideally, it's not really just a break of the trend line. Really, we want to see this low broken, because then it's a change of cycle. Because what could happen is, you know, we could break this trend line here, form a still a higher low, and still push up. And just because we broke this trend line doesn't matter. We're still actually in an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. So ideally, you know, we want to see this low broken, then a lower high form, and then, you know, look for a sell setup into the zone, weekly support zone. So yeah, EuroCAD, I really do like short because of where it is on weekly resistance, and we've seen that doji candle form on the weekly. But Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie both looking long for me, so we'll be looking for long setups going into the new week. All right, guys, so I hope you found that informative, and let's see what the week brings. You take care, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye.